Shortly after the spoiling of Cara Dune's blaster, I did a cast on a really cool potential combo, No Blanks Red Jarkai. Believe it or not, that was over 120 episodes ago. So I figured it might be time to revisit that topic now that we've seen more sets, more characters, and more importantly, more weapons. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and the Commando cast, and thanks for tuning in for Destiny Friday. That's right, today talking No Blanks Red Jarkai. And you know what? In the intro, I actually said, and more importantly, the weapons. And actually, during the break, I was like, I actually don't know that that's true. Actually, maybe it's the characters that make it potentially different. So yeah, let's go ahead and recap this little combo, if you will. So the important thing on Cara Dune's blaster, aside from the fact that it's a 2-drop with a bunch of guns on it, attached character's weapon dice showing blanks may be resolved as melee damage with a value of 1. Well, that's pretty cool. Now, this does have redeploy if it's on Cara, but let's note that's not really relevant because, right, you can only put Jarkai in a blue character. And Jarkai, of course, been around for a long time. Limit 1 form per character. Attached character has +2 upgrade limit, so you can effectively run 4 weapons. And before you resolve an attached character's weapon die, if the attached character has 2 or more weapons on it, increase its value by 1, being the weapon die. So very, very strong there, right? And obviously the combo is that even if you roll a blank, it resolves as melee for 2. For 2, as long as you have 2 weapons, of course. So yeah, like I mentioned, you go through, there's been a bunch of weapons dropped, and it is kind of interesting looking at the weapons because it's a little different than what we would normally look at in that, redeploy is a very strong keyword. A lot of times I don't even really look, for the most part, at weapons that don't have redeploy, but that's not how you're playing this, right? You're making Megatron, right? That's the plan here. So we can really look at some different weapons, and there's been some doozies, but let's go ahead and look at the characters first. Now, the approach I'm taking for this, like I said, you're building Megatron, so by and large, you're not looking at yellow characters here because you're going to run a run like a small and a big, or like a 13 and a 17, or something in that range. And really, you're only going to be able to run because you have to run blue, you have to run red for the combo. You're probably not doing the 3-wide because it just doesn't really make sense. There might be some cases in which you can do it, but let's just stick to the red blues. I think makes sense. So there are 6 characters that pop to me as being the prime contenders for this combo. And the first and most obvious you see right there in front is Ki, right? Ki makes a lot of sense because you can get your weapons back. You can do the Jedi lightsaber recycling for your 2 shields. That doesn't suck. You can get a lot of value out of Ki and make sure you can get the ones you want. So that's fine. It does have to be blue weapon or equipment, but for the most part, that's not too limiting overall. Leia Organa is another one that I still think, now remember she's 16, right? She's been balanced to 16, but I still think she's a solid one because she can get, on her own, she can get shields, and you're going to be playing a fair amount of weapons that have costs, and she can get 2-3 shields off of them. For the most part, you're going to get 2 shields, I think, off of her if you hit a weapon. But it's a pretty good option there as well, I think, for getting those shields, because remember, when she activates, reveal the top card of your deck, you get shields, blah, blah, blah. And then the last one, who I think is also a very, very strong candidate for this, I do want to give a shout out real quick to Darth Clooney. He was playing Yoda with the new Radwan Protector, whatever his name is. And that was a pretty cool yellow Jarkai build. And that's kind of what got me thinking about this to begin with. But Yoda's pretty strong because he can also play a blue card from your discard pile. Now, that doesn't necessarily help you get, it's kind of the key, like it could be a weapon. But more than likely what you're going to be doing are Luke's Offer, Blue Milk, stuff like that, because it makes you money. To then those cards are pretty gross, by the way. Those cards are pretty gross. So I think Yoda's a very strong contender as well. Maybe even stronger than Ki, because he can get you your stuff back, like not just your weapons back. And then he has no blanks himself, by the way. And his specials his specials. Move 1 damage from a card to another card, or 2 damage instead if you played a card from your discard pile this round. So he doesn't get shields like Leia does, but he does healing. And a lot of times he might not need the shield. So all 3 of those I think are pretty strong, decent options. I think Yoda's worth looking at, but that 20 price point makes him a little difficult with reds if you're trying to run 4 die. But I think maybe you don't have to. Hey, going into the reds, now I have to have Cara Dune on here. That said, I don't think she's the right option because really the only thing that you would even... I mean, I think she's a good character, first off. But she's at 14 with 11. Okay, that's good. But really, I think the only thing that draws your head to Cara is the fact that it's her blaster. But remember, you're not even really trying to put the blaster on her, so that part of it doesn't really necessarily matter, right? And she doesn't have Guardian or anything like that, so I'm not thinking that's the play. Rex also is on there, so he's 10-13 price points. That works well with like a 17 pointer, which, you know, that does work. And so Cara, by the way, could work pretty well if you wanted to with like Key, right? Or she could play with Leia, right? Those are both definitely things. Cara Leia could be absolutely a thing. Cara Leia Red Jarkai seems pretty decent. Rex being at that 10-13 price point, I'm more looking at him at 10 for potentially Leia, right? Now there are again, if you're trying to do Megatron, there are more ramp options available for red that you might want to look at, and that's fair. Now the last one, which is interesting here, is actually Ayla, right? So the new Ayla General, who is a red character that plays as a blue. So if you were to pair her with a 13-point, God, don't you wish you could pair her with herself, right? Wouldn't that be funny? It'd be good, actually. But at that 13 health, not bad. She also has the 3 reroll, which is going to be good because you're going to be rolling in a boatload of dice here. And then roll a set-aside clone trooper die into your pool. Well, that does have money sides on it. Now, the 2 blanks on that don't work with the Jarkai thing. Fair enough. But I think there's some options to explore there as well, specifically because she can bring some other tricks to play, specifically being like her lightsaber. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into the weapons. And I'm looking, I know there's an old one on here, but I'm looking primarily at the weapons that we didn't look at since, actually I guess there's 2 old ones on here, both on the reprint list. But looking primarily at ones that have come out since the last time we talked about this, because I think that's why we're here, right? So Jedi lightsaber, I think it's good, but I think you probably only really play this one if you are doing Key. I think, right? I mean, sure, Yoda can play it. He can play it, but he can. So actually, that's fair, right? Maybe you play it with both of them. I don't think you play it with Leia, probably, because she's making shields anyway. And then another obvious one's Shoto. I mean, Shoto's a phenomenal weapon. Yes, it has the modified sides, but being able to take or gain shields is super strong. I have the DH-17 blaster pistol on here. Just stick with me on this one. It only redeploys if it's a baby blaster that only redeploys on red. But it's still a one, like, if you are full up, you could throw it on your red character, right? And then, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't take it, I guess, but fair enough. I still think it's playable, and again, it's that 1 price point. You can then overwrite it later. I think it works pretty well. Chirrut Staff is an insanely good card. Right? If this is coming down a 1 for 2/2/2, 2 shield, 2 shield, yes, please. Like, that's pretty damn good, right? 5 sides that you want to take. And actually, in this case, it would actually, I'm taking it back, it would actually be 6 sides that you want to take, because you'd have 4 1 melees, and you'd have you'd have 4 2 melees, and 2 shields, which is very, very strong. We then have Ayla's lightsaber, which is very, very good, especially on her if you decide to go that route. Probably you only want to do that if you're going that route with her, I think. But we also have Obi-Wan's lightsaber, which again has redeploy. Again, in this case, usually if Megatron goes down, you probably do lose. I grant you that. But it's still a damn good weapon. 1, 2, plus 2. It does have the focus. The focus is actually very strong in this type of build because you're rolling out a bunch of dice, right? Let's go ahead and go back to the characters. Just to remind, Yoda has a 1 focus. That's probably not what you want to use this die for. Key has the 1 focus and the 2 focus, which again makes Key a very strong contender in this type of thing. And then last up, the one that really is, I think, very attractive in this build is the IB-94. So the ambush isn't as relevant, But the fact that you can just exhaust it every round to gain a shield, I mean, it's no secret that this card sees a lot of play in a lot of different decks. It not having redeploy doesn't seem to hurt that, and I mean, that's logical, right? Being able to come down and gain a shield, and then next round gain a shield, and it's still a 1/2+2 shield resource blank, all for 2. Pretty damn good weapon, right? And if we're really looking at the field we have out there, there's not really a ton of need to be running 3-drop weapons overall. I mean, there are plenty of 2-drop weapons with decent size. I mean, turret staff, oh my god, the thing's crazy in this build, right? But even the even the DH-17, right? If the logic is that you don't care about blanks, I mean, those blanks are all 1 melees. So that's pretty damn good, right? Pretty damn good. There's even an argument for running the red baby blaster as well, just to help fill out and get cheaper weapons out there. I mean, a lot of the blue decks I've seen lately don't really struggle for resources, like, at all, with Blue Milk and Luke's offer, so seems pretty good. Seems pretty good to me, and I don't know. I really think this deck is worth revisiting. I don't know that it's going to be uber good, because it's a little, what happens if Karis is on the bottom? I mean, I guess you still have a whole bunch of good weapons in Jar-Kai, and you just have to pack enough stuff to keep your big boys alive. So again, let's flash back to the blue characters. I mean, that's really the meat, because your blue character is going to be Megatron in this case. So I think it's got to be. I mean, Yoda looks real strong to me, right? Maybe running Yoda with like a ramp character, but you could run Key with somebody else. I suppose you could run him technically with 2 8s. So maybe you do. I guess with Key, I suppose you could do. You could do Key with like a rainbow Key, right? And somehow try and keep him alive doing the thing. Makes sense. But again, with the weapons, I'll flash them up again. With the weapons that we have available, I don't know that you need yellow. I mean, Vibro Cutlass is crazy good. Or Vibro Sword, whatever. Crazy good. No secret there. But no lack of options on this. So, yeah, I think that it might be time to give another stab at this no blanks Jar-Kai thing. Maybe even revisit Cara Leia with some of the new tricks we got. That IB-94 blaster looks real hot on somebody who likes to take a lot of shields. But again, I think being able to recycle from the discard with some of those actions makes Yoda probably the top trick. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Any other ideas you'd like to see? Have you tried this? Is it working? Is it not working? It seems to me like there should be some of you crazy guys out there who've tried it already. So anyway, let me know, folks. Thanks for tuning in for Destiny Friday. Keep being you. Keep rolling 3s or 4s or specials. And go Commando.